I love working with people coming back from injury because they essentially put their whole trust in you, and it makes them decide whether it's what they really want to do. Do they really want to play at the elite level, or is it just too hard for them? Do they not want and stand the pressure? They need to trust you completely, that the decisions you make and the things you make them do and get them to do are, continuing on the path to return to play. I very strongly believe in sort of key performance indicator, criterion-based progression, and you earn the right to progress through. If you imagine it's like a pyramid, and if bits are missing from the base, then you build another layer, bits are missing from there, and you end up with quite a flimsy structure that when you come to the rigours of the international or elite competition, there's a very high probability of falling over. If you're really lucky and you've worked in places for a while, you sort of have baseline values. And clubs are getting much better at doing that now, so that if staff change, there are baseline values and consistent tests that are completed, so at least you have something to compare them to before. Otherwise, you're only able to compare them to their non-op leg, so that can be a bit of a problem. I'm very much of the opinion, especially if we're talking about ACLs, we're normally talking about multi-directional, high-speed, multi-sprint sports, and you've got to be able to slow down before you can speed up, and that's something that people just generally in training don't even think about. They think about being concentrically powerful, but they don't think about the ability to absorb that force, and that's something that's very simply done that can have huge impacts at levels right from junior level all the way through to the elite. So I split my training into streams and strands, and they all progress and evolve as the timeline of the graft and the rehabilitation evolves. But if you just look at simple things that can be done with a 17-year-old, just their ability to jump and land on 2 feet, forwards, backwards, side to side, jump forward to do 180 degrees, jump forward with a 360-degree turn, do exactly all of those things on one leg, do all those things with your eyes closed, do all those things whilst you're possibly going to have to catch a ball when you land, that you don't know where it's coming from. There's so many ways that can be done with no equipment, very limited skill, and can have some huge implications and applications to sport at all levels. What you see are just a snapshot, one drill of a huge program that's threaded together, and that might be fairly early stage, but it's already had 6 or 7 building blocks underneath it before you get to that stage. So one example is an athlete running in, jumping on a vault, and then jumping onto some nice soft mats. Well, they've already done the run into the vault, they've already done the jumping down onto the mats, they've done all the components before you actually start to put them together. So it's really obeying the laws of motor learning and how skill is acquired. The other thing as well, I suppose, having done a lot of this type of work now over the last 10 years, I've become very confident in what I think an athlete can and can't do, and it's very important in rehabilitation and as a coach that you never put them in a position to give them something that you're not quite sure whether they can do or not. You know, if you're going to give it to them, that they can do it, because that can have huge detrimental effects on their mindset in rehabilitation. You need to have structure in what you're doing. You need to know where you are going to actually be able to get there. So a lot of people aren't quite sure what their return to play markers would be, or what things they actually want their athletes to be able to do to be confident to send them back to play. So I think it's very important that you have the end point and you know where you're going to. That's the first one. The second one is actually having structure to your programs. As a specialised strength and power coach, I have ridiculous structure and progression to my exercises and how they all build up, and the way I link my streams together. So that would be the second one. And the third one is people, like I said, see rehab as something that they have to do until they can get to the big job, whereas it's a huge, huge, huge area that's of so much importance to clubs with the amount of money that they spend on downtime for players and wages when they're unavailable to play. So I think it's something that hopefully will get a bit sexier in the next couple of years.